In Week 8, there were many very close matchups, including the Ravens-Buccaneers game, in which Lamar Jackson was very efficient through the air and also was good on the ground. Isaiah Likely led the Ravens in receiving yards as all their tight ends looked to get involved each week. Tom Brady struggled again, completing 26 of 44 passes for 325 yards and a touchdown. The Bucs could not get anything going on the ground, which led to the loss. The Broncos edged out the Jaguars as Russell Wilson finally played pretty good. Although they were missing their number one back, Latavius Murray and Melvin Gordon both stepped up, but were unable to get over 3.3 yards a carry. As for the Jaguars, they really struggled on offense as Lawrence threw 2 picks, but Etienne went for 156 yards, 6.5 yards a carry, and a touchdown. And Evan Ingram and Christian Kirk both went for over 40 yards, so they were pretty much the sole receiving aspects for the team. The Dolphins made a huge comeback against the Lions, down. They were tied 17-7 at half, and then the Dolphins put on 14 straight points to take the lead, and they held it for the rest of the game as Tua just could not be stopped, going for 382 yards and 3 touchdowns. Tyreek Hill is on pace to break the receiving yards in a season record, as he has 188, and Jalen Waddle is looking to attempt to break the receiving touchdowns in the game as he added 2 more to his total. Mike Gesicki made an amazing catch late in the third quarter as he had 38 yards. TJ Hawkinson had 80 yards, but after the game he was traded to the Vikings for a flurry of picks. Khalif Raymond had 76 yards, and Amon-Ra St. Brown had 69 yards. Jamal Williams had 10 carries, as DeAndre Swift only had 5, and they both didn't do much on the ground. Philip Walker led the Panthers to a comeback in which they completed a Hail Mary to DJ Moore for the win, but he took his helmet off, which led to a 47-yard extra point due to excessive celebration. The Panthers missed the extra point, so went to overtime. Falcons won it through an interception. Panthers had prime field position starting inside the red zone, but their kicker missed the game-winning 20-ish yard field goal. And then the Falcons drove and kicked their game-winning field goal, and they made it. Both quarterbacks played surprisingly well. Caleb Huntley was very efficient on the ground, as Tyler Algier had a lot of carries, but could just not do much with it. And Kyle Pitts finally had his standout game, going for 5 catches for 80 yards and a touchdown. The Vikings advanced to 6-1 as they looked to dominate the NFC North. Kyler Murray once again didn't play very good, and Kirk Cousins had an efficient game. Dalvin Cook went 20 carries for 111 yards and a touchdown on the ground, and through the air, he also added 30 more to his total. Justin Jefferson was held under 100 yards, although he did go for 98, as he is continuing to put up good numbers. The Cowboys just destroyed the Bears, as Justin Fields didn't look very good versus studded Cowboys defense. Although Fields was still very good on the ground, and so were Khalil Herbert and Velces Jones Jr., the Bears were unable to score enough points, as Dak Prescott just played amazing. The Saints shut out the Raiders as they could not get anything going on offense. Josh Jacobs had only 43 yards off 10 carries, which is still good, but that's just not the type of production you expect from him. Devonta Adams only had 3 yards. Mac Hollins led the team with 64 off of 7 receptions. And the Raiders just really struggled to get pressure, as they did not get a single sack the entire game. The Saints, however, were very good on defense, as they had 5 sacks, which a lot of them were not Derek Carr's fault. It's just a lot of them were great coverage and couldn't really do much there. The Eagles destroyed their interstate rivals, as Kenny Pickett could just not do anything on offense, as he threw another pick and no touchdowns. Jaylen Warren led the Steelers in rushing, going for 50 yards, and Pratt Freiermuth led them in the air, going for 57. Jalen Hurts was pretty efficient, 19 for 28, 285 and 4 yards, as the Steelers pretty much got no pressure, and he just kind of sat in the pocket and dotted up the Steelers' injured defense. A.J. Brown, once again, played amazing, going for 156 yards and 3 touchdowns. The Patriots, once again, beat the Jets, as the Jets just kind of choked it. They were up by 4 at half, and then the Patriots scored 13 in the third and 3 in the fourth, as Mac Jones was the quarterback, and he did his job. Ramondre Stevenson was amazing, leading the Patriots in rushing and receiving, going for 72 rushing yards and 72 rushing yards and 71 receiving yards. And Zach Wilson threw 3 picks, and the Jets just could not get any rush game going without Breece Hall. The Titans barely were able to beat the Texans 17-10, as Malik Willis just didn't look very good. He only attempted 10 passes, completed 6 of them for 55 yards. However, Derrick Henry, in the last 6 games versus the Texans, he has gone for over 150 yards, and I think he's gone for a collective 8 touchdowns, as he has just been dominant. This time, he went for 32 carries, 219 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And meanwhile, the Texans' offense struggled, but was still able to put up 10 points on a Titans defense that's been playing a lot better recently. And Dameon Pierce had his first game where he didn't really do much of anything, as he only went for 3.5 yards a carry for 20 yards. Daniel Jones also heavily struggled, as the Giants could not get anything going on offense, first one of the league's worst defenses. Their running backs averaged 2.6 and 3.3 yards a carry, and the receivers didn't play great, O-line didn't play great, quarterback didn't play great. However, for the Seahawks, their O-line did not play good, but that didn't stop Geno Smith from being amazing. So he went 23 for 34, 212 yards, and 2 touchdowns, including a flurry of tight window completions. Kenneth Walker went for 51 yards and a touchdown, but had 18 carries, as he is becoming to be a workhorse back, and I don't know if he's quite ready for it yet. The Commanders edged out the Colts 17-16, as the game was tight the entire time. Taylor Heinicke was the man, as he went for 279 yards and a touchdown, but he also threw a pick. And rushing-wise, he went for 29 yards and a touchdown. For the Colts, Sam Ehlinger did his job, 17 for 23, 201 yards. And he also had 6 carries, 15 yards on the ground. Alec Pierce led the Colts in receiving, going 3 catches for 65 yards. And the 49ers destroyed the Rams, 31-14, as McCaffrey is the first NFL player in history to have over 30 passing yards in a single game, to have over 30 passing yards, over 30 rushing yards, and over 30 receiving yards, and a touchdown in each of those 3 categories, as he showed why the 49ers gave up so much for him. Meanwhile, the Rams could not get much of anything going on offense, as All the running backs struggled, and Stafford missed a lot of throws. To no one's surprise, the Packers advance to 3-5, as they might miss the playoffs this season, which is insane as they started 3-1. The Bills advanced to 6-1, as they will be looking to make a deep run in the playoffs, as they are those Super Bowl favorites with the Eagles. And now the Browns just continue to dominate the Bengals, as both teams were missing just an insane amount of starters. The Bengals are missing 3 cornerbacks. The Browns missed 2, as both secondaries were just beaten up and just didn't look good. The Bengals could not get a ton going on offense, as Joe Burrow appeared to really miss Jamar Chase.